Hi guys, my name's Andy Payne and I'm going to teach you a strengthening exercise routine using dumbbells on behalf of Parkinson's Care and Support UK. This session should last about 35 minutes in duration, and if you haven't got dumbbells to use as your resistance, why not try using a couple of baked bean tins or a couple of small water bottles. So to begin with, we're going to start by rolling our shoulders, and we're just beginning to warm the body up at this stage, and we're telling the body that we want it to do some exercise. So it's really important to warm up before our exercises, and that gives us the best possible chance of going through an exercise routine without injuring ourselves. It's also really good to prepare the brain and show the brain and the body the type of movements that we'll be doing over the next 35 minutes. So a good reason to do strength exercises is to support our body day to day. And certainly there are movements which we go about on a daily basis which do require muscular strength. In fact, our entire lives we require muscular strength. On a functional basis, those things may be climbing stairs, getting in and out of chairs, sitting on the loo and getting back up, or it may be that you need to be fitter and stronger to do things like run around after the grandchildren, to pick up grandchildren when we are able to do that, when the government says we're able to do that. So rolling shoulders to start with, and telling the body, let's get ready to do some exercise. Okay, from here, cross and open your arms. As always, when we go through these exercise routines, if you need to take breaks, please do. Make sure that you've always got water to hand so that you can stay hydrated. The weather is getting warmer and warmer, so it's a really good idea to have water beside you or within easy access. Crossing and opening. So as I cross my arms, I'm stretching through the upper back muscles. As I open them, I'm stretching through the chest. And let's go back to shrugs. So nice big circles, preparing the shoulders to do a little bit more exercise, preparing the muscles to help us move our dumbbells or our water bottles, whatever you're choosing to work with at home. Excellent. From here, let's go back to crossing and opening the arms, and in a moment we'll move on to warming up the legs. Crossing and opening, cross and open, preparing the body for exercise. Okay, so we've got the shoulders moving. Let's now move on to getting the bottom half of the body moving. And I'm going to start by lifting each heel in turn. So coming up onto the toes and then returning. Lifting and lowering. And at this stage, of course, We could add one of the arm movements in addition, so that may be the crossing and opening, and this is a great way for us to challenge our brain and to challenge our coordination. Top and bottom of the body working independently, doing something different. And again, we can go back to our shrugs whilst continuing to lift our heels. The lifting of heels is particularly going to target the calf muscles in the bottom half back of the leg. We can go back to shrugging. And you'll notice that I tend to roll my shoulders backwards because it's about opening up and stretching the chest muscles. Tends to be more effective than rolling the shoulders forward in circles. Okay, so we can now go to a bigger movement with our legs. I'm going to do a knee tap. Of course, if you're finding balance difficult, why not hold on to a wall? Why not have a chair to one side to support you? Always thinking about our safety first and working at a pace that suits us as an individual. And as I do this, notice that I am keeping my back up nice and straight. My shoulders are over my hips. And this will target and challenge my core muscles as well as knees and hips as I work. Perhaps if you are using a chair to one side, maybe it's easier to hold the chair and just tap on one leg at a time, and then move the chair over to the other side and tap the other leg one at a time. All the way through our strength exercises, please continue to breathe as you would normally. In years gone by, I have seen people holding their breath as they exercise, certainly when they're lifting weights. Please don't do that. It isn't helpful. We need to get plenty of oxygen into the body, and the best way to do that is for you to breathe as far as possible as you would normally. Lifting and lowering. Okay, so further warm up for the legs. Let's step out to the side and swap. Side, swap. I call this a half star movement. Very good alternative to something such as a jumping jack, which would involve jumping. So this is a good lower impact way of challenging the body. Again, requires some coordination skills. And if you want to further challenge, why don't we go to 2 on each side? 1, 2, back, 1 and 2, back. 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Well done. 2, 1 and 2. Keep going for me. Working at your own pace. Stopping for water as and when it's needed, taking short breaks throughout if you'd like to. That's one of the most wonderful things about the human body, is it can adapt to a given stimulus. So when you start doing this sort of exercise, perhaps it is difficult. Quite quickly your body becomes fitter, stronger, more able, and you'll find the exercises do become easier, not only for your body and your muscles, but also for your brain. When we start these movements, sometimes the brain can be overwhelmed and challenged, in which case you just slow down, working at your own pace. Okay, so that's our warm-up done for today. I'm now going to get us a couple of dumbbells to work with. Okay, and the first exercise that I'm going to show you is a row. So I bring the two dumbbells together in front of my body and I pull up to my chin and then back down. Pull and down. Lift and lower. Coming up to the chin and back down. And I'm sure if you're working with me, you can feel your core muscles, your tummy muscles are working as we do this. And that's one of the biggest benefits of not having gym equipment, not being able to get into the big gyms. A lot of these exercises in gyms are done in big pieces of machinery that require you to sit down. When we're working at home, it is up to us to create that integrity through the core and to stabilise the body so that we can move properly. So this exercise is a pulling exercise, pulling from the hips, coming straight up to the chin. This will help us to do things like pull doors towards us, perhaps to open them, or to reach something around the house and pull that towards us. A pulling movement. Now I've probably done a good 10, 12, maybe even 15 of those exercises, and perhaps for you it's more appropriate to do 6 or 8 and then build that up over time. So work at a level that suits you. Viewing that exercise from the side, we want to stabilise the hips, pull up to the chin and lower. No leaning back with this one. We can keep the chin or the chest lifted to ensure that we target the big upper back muscles, but we're not pushing forward through our hips to create momentum. We're using the strength in our muscles to lift, please. Okay, so that's our rowing action, that's our pulling action. The next one we're going to do is to push the weight overhead. I'm going to do that by coming over my shoulders, my knuckles facing up towards the ceiling, and I can either do that on one side and lower, one side and lower, or I can do it on both at the same time. Lift, good job, pushing up and lowering. And ideally, depending on your shoulder's range of movement, how far it will move, the weight is going to be in line with your ear as you push overhead. The elbows stay very slightly soft. Let's do 3 more of these. 3, 2, good job, and 1. Excellent. Okay, bring the weights down to the side, have a little wriggle and jiggle to loosen up, and we're going to go back to our row. Putting up to the chin and lowering. Chin and lower. Breathing normally throughout. Keeping the weight on our heels so that we are stable. Putting everything in around the spine so that we're able to focus on this pulling action. 3 more. 3 and 2 and 1. Excellent. Taking the weights back up to our shoulders and pushing overhead. Push and lower. I'm going to do this one 10 times. This is number 3 coming up. 4, 5. Well done, stay with me. 6, 7, 8. Well done. Keeping control throughout. 9 and 10. Excellent. Bring the weight safely down beside you. The next exercise I'm going to do is for my bicep muscles. These are the muscles in the front of the arm. They help, or they are contracted by shoulder, or rather elbow flexion. This is elbow flexion, lifting the weight up to my shoulder and lowering. So looking from the front, lifting and lowering, elbows staying nice and tight into the side of the body. Lift and lower. Excellent, keep going. Lifting and lowering. And just to be clear on that movement again from the side, be careful that you're not relying on the shoulder moving. So if I let my shoulder interfere with this movement, it becomes this sort of move. The majority of my movement in that case is coming from the front of the shoulder. I want it to come from the elbow, so I tuck the sides, tuck the elbows into the side of my body, lifting and lowering. Okay, so we've done the front of the arm. Let's now do the back. Traditionally, this is done in a semi-squatted position with a nice straight back. Something like this, taking the weight behind, feeling the back of the arm work. Again, this is done via elbow extension, not from the shoulder. Back of the arms working now. I've got my weight on my heels, I've got a nice straight back. If indeed you find this difficult, then why not do the exercise whilst we're standing? So we can stand nice and tall and do it, and I can still feel the back of this arm muscle working. How does this movement differ from the hammer curl? Well, in fact, I am hammer curling and extending. So this one is flexion of the elbow, and this one is extension of the elbow. Back of the arm working, front of the arm. Back of the arm, front of the arm. And again, in the squatty position, only do this if you feel completely safe and able. I'm looking down toward the ground, probably 16-18 inches in front of me. Most important thing is a nice straight back. Okay, so that is how we exercise the tricep muscles. Those muscles help us push things. Okay, so we've done hammer curl and tricep, front and back of the arm. Let's go back to that hammer curl movement from here to here. And lowering, lift and lower. Excellent. Keeping control throughout. The ideal pace is 2 or 3 seconds to lift. I like to count in thousands to ensure that I'm not cutting any corners and trying to make the exercise shorter. So if we did that, it would be 1,000, 2,000, pause, say 1,000 again, so pause for a second, 1,000, 2,000 to lower. So even Andy is working a little bit quicker than that today. And if you really want to challenge those muscles with a light weight, you can indeed use a 3-1-3, so 3,000 and then 1,000 pause, 3,000 back. Let's try that. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, pause for 1,000 and then 3,000, 2,000, 1,000 to lower. 3-1-3. 3 seconds to lift, pause for a second, 3 seconds to lower. Okay, so really starting to feel that in my biceps now, the front of the upper arm, and lower, lift and lower. Moving on to triceps then, I do that sideways so that you can see more easily how that movement works. We go from here, extending through the elbows and flexing. Flex and extend, and I am indeed, again, working bicep and tricep, front and back of the upper arm. In a moment we'll go on to do some strength training for our lower body. And again, the semi-squatted version of the tricep extension looks like this. Excellent. Okay, moving on from here, we're going to do a squat. So, good way to squat is to bring the weight up to the shoulders, tuck the elbows into the side of the body, and then we're going to create this backward sitting movement. Squat back and come up. So you can see how this might transfer into day-to-day life. Getting into and out of dining room chairs, on and off of the sofa, sitting down on the bus, getting up, getting into and out of cars, and sitting down on the loo. As much as possible, I'm keeping the weight on my heels with this movement. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, that exercise works the entire lower portion of the legs, the entire lower portion of the body, quadriceps, front upper thigh, hamstrings, back upper thigh, glutes, which is essentially your butt cheek, and also calf muscles, back of the lower limb. Okay, moving on from there, we're going to do some chest pressing. So we bring the weights to here, we push out in front and return. Now that's quite heavy, and I'm quite well conditioned to be in the gym. So a good way to do this, if this is too much, would be to hold on to one weight and to do the same thing. Push out, come back, out and back. Viewed from the side, push and pull. Elbows tuck into the side of the body as ever. Push and pull. Excellent job. Pushing out is working the chest muscles and the triceps as well as the shoulders. Pulling back is working the upper back muscles, and you can see that if I turn so that my back is towards you, pulling in, tucking the elbows in, you can see that the upper body, the upper back muscles are working. Pushing out and back. Working at shoulder height. Keeping the elbows very slightly soft as I work. Well done, let's do 3 more. 3, come back. 2, back under control. And 1, excellent job. Okay, so I'm going to stop for a moment and get some water. I encourage you to do the same thing, and then we'll come back to those exercises and run through that last 2 again. As I've said, it is really warm today, so it's worth taking time to hydrate your body, and that in turn allows us to get through the exercises with more energy and generally to feel more alert and more able to exercise. Going back to squat now. When you're lifting things from the ground, You bend your knees, keep your weight on your heels and pull up. That's something we often forget, is to bend our knees, and that indeed is helped by this squat movement. So I'm now going to do 10 squats, weight on the heels, coming back up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, well done, 9 and 10. Excellent. Go back to our chest press again. I'm going to pop one of these on the floor. Out in front, pulling back. Well done. Always working with control, keeping the elbows soft, working at shoulder heights. Two more, guys. And 1. Excellent. Okay, next exercise we're going to come back to do a bit more of our shoulders, and we're going to come forward with one arm and out to the side with the other. Looks like this. Again, I'm working out to shoulder height, keeping the elbow nice and straight, keeping the hips fixed above my ankles and in line with my shoulders. Lifting, nice straight arm. And I'm securing this movement through my core muscles, so I'm pulling everything in toward the spine. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. And in a moment, I'll turn round, we'll do the movement the other way. And this one is really focused very much on the core activity. When I talk about bracing your core to support you, we want to keep the knees very slightly soft. We want to keep everything nice and in line, so standing up straight and putting everything in towards the spine, around the trunk and the core, the middle of the body, but being able to breathe throughout. Okay, switching over then. This one's now going to come forward. Right arm coming forward, left arm coming out to the side. And you'll notice that I'm not swaying at all to generate that momentum. At all costs, we want to avoid this sort of movement. Your hips should not move. Keeping control of the movement all the way through, lifting and lowering. Okay, let's do this one 3 more times. 3, 2, and 1. Excellent, well done. Moving on from here, so just to run through what we've done today, we've mobilised the body, warmed up and told it to get ready for exercise. We've done some strength with these dumbbells. Dumbbells are readily available via the internet and can be delivered to your door. These are 3 kilos. For most people, if you're new to exercise, I would suggest that you start with something quite a lot smaller. And indeed, if you are brand new to this sort of exercise routine, perhaps you can do the exercise with nothing in your hands at all, just getting used to the movements. If you want to use things around your home, then please use water bottles with the lids screwed on very tightly, as we don't want to cause any accidents, or baked bean tins, provided that you can grip them and keep them secure throughout. So now it's time for us to cool down. I'm going to pop the weights to one side, and we're going to warm up in a very, we're going to cool down in a very similar way to which we warmed up. So we'll start by rolling shoulders. So today we've done 10 or 12 different exercises. We've repeated them twice. It's been a full body workout. We've done pretty much every muscle in the body. Front of the arm, back of the arm, chest, upper back and leg muscles all working, including the glutes, which are our butt cheeks. Those are the prime drivers in the back of the body for the squat movement. And the most amazing thing about the human body is the more that we challenge within the realms of safety, it will adapt, it will get stronger and things will become easier. And that's very important for the population at large, but also for Parkinson's patients. We should be really working as much as you're able to retain, maintain and build strength so that we are able to have a good quality of life. Okay, crossing and opening arms now. You'll notice this routine looks pretty much the same as how we started. That's no bad thing. The exercises that serve as a warm-up also serve as a cool-down, and this is a great way to send messages to the body, to the muscles, to the brain, to tell it that we've finished our exercise routine and we're going back to a more normal pace of moving and living. Excellent. Lifting heels then. And in a moment we'll move on to a couple of static stretches, and that will be the end of our exercise routine today. As I said earlier, always adjust the workout to suit yourself. If I've done 10 or 12 of an exercise as a set, perhaps you need to be doing 6 or 8, or certainly if you're able to do 10 or 12, then go for it. But always be working at a rate which is suitable for you and your body. Okay, from here it's quite nice to kick your bum for a moment. Just gives an opportunity to stretch these quad muscles which were used in the squat movement. And from here, let's stretch shoulders. So I bring one arm out to the side of the body, put it across the chest, one wrist meets the other, and I pull in nice and tight. I'm going to look over my right shoulder, turning my head to the right. That gives me a chest stretch, that gives me a shoulder stretch, back of this arm, the deltoid, and it also gives me a stretch in the upper neck muscles. Swapping to the other side. Looking to the left now. And relax, coming down either side of the body. Stretching through the upper and lower back with this one. And taking the hands behind the back, lifting up gently and carefully, looking straight ahead, keeping your chest lifted, gives me a chest stretch, front of the upper body, pushing your head back on your shoulders, keeping the sternum, the chest lifted, and drawing the shoulder blades back towards the spine, please. 2 more stretches to come for the back, upper legs, and then that's us done for today. One foot coming forward, nice straight back, toes lift, also gives me a calf stretch. These stretches, when done at home, if you're alone, you can hold these stretches for anywhere up to 30 seconds. Would be a really good time or duration to do this. I'm then going to swap to the other side. Nice and straight back. Both hands coming onto the bent knee. On my right side, that's giving me a stretch in these muscles here. Lovely. So that's our strength exercise routine with dumbbells completed for today. I hope that you've enjoyed the routine. My name is Andy, teaching exercise on behalf of Parkinson's Care and Support UK. Please remain safe, look after yourselves, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.